The Legions of Athena. Chapter 35. Hercules was about to face the second capo when he sensed someone else approaching them. It was not someone of remarkable power either, not even a demigod level like Theseus and the others. But this made him curious as to who would be stupid enough to approach this battlefield, and he saw him, a boy. He was really young, and he did not just look young like Hypnos. In his hand he held a sword glowing with crimson energy. There was nothing remarkable about the boy, but Hercules sensed something was odd about his presence, like an unnatural anomaly. The boy walked up to Hypnos and stood beside him. Then he raised his sword against Hercules. "Kid, are you suicidal? This is no time to play hero," Hypnos said. "I came to help," Max said simply. "That is freaking Hercules. You can't help, and I don't have time to protect you as well," said Hypnos. "Don't worry, you won't have to," Max said. Hypnos wanted to argue, but there was something about the kid that stopped him. He seemed like a different person. He had that look in his eyes, a dark look of determination that would not listen to logic or reason. "Your funeral, kid," Hypnos said. "Just don't get in my way." Hercules couldn't believe that a child had just raised his blade at him. The sight made him laugh. "I do not know what misguided fortune has brought you here, boy, but leave now. I do not wish to fight an infant." "Why? Are you afraid of me?" Maximus asked. "You are suicidal," said Hypnos. "Brave words," Hercules said, "but you will not find glory here." Maximus did not respond. He knew he was dead the moment he decided to fight. But like he said before, he was tired of running. Right now, at this moment, there was something liberating about facing his death head-on. So he readied his stance. Hercules smirked. "Or perhaps you will find glory," he gloated as he raised the lion tamer. "For what greater glory awaits a worm like you than to die at the hands of Hercules?" "Hercules! Is that what you call yourself now, bastard?" A voice echoed. Hercules froze. For a moment he thought his ears had deceived him, that he had imagined it. But no, he was certain. Someone had said it. Someone had dared to insult him with that word. The grip he had on lion tamer tightened. Whatever amusement he had felt earlier was gone and was replaced by rage, a psychotic rage that could not be quenched. He turned to find the source of these words. The air shimmered and there she appeared. Standing lean and tall, wearing purple hooded robes and her mysterious white mask, Madame Hex. "What did you call me?" Hercules snarled in a deep and dangerous voice. His pure white eyes were fixed on the woman, the very earth trembling beneath his anger. "Bastard," she repeated. "That is what you are you not? You can become the champion of Olympus and shout that you are the mighty Hercules all you want, but the truth will remain that you are Heracles, the bastard son of Alcmene." "Kid, I take it back," Hypnos said. "She's suicidal." Maximus agreed with the sleep god. Everyone knew that Hercules was born a bastard, but no one spoke of it, and especially not to his face. Once, long before he became champion, a king had jested about his fatherless birth. Hercules had killed the king, his entire family, and destroyed his kingdom in his fury. Max didn't know what Madame Hex was doing, but she certainly had the Olympians' attention. Hercules stood there in disbelief. He had not been called that for so long. No one dared even utter it around him for centuries. Here this woman had reminded him of the past he tried so hard to forget, and he struck with such speed that mortals could not even see it. But he did not reach his target. A few feet away from the madam, Hercules had been brought to a halt. Long, wide ribbons had wrapped themselves all around him, stopping him in his tracks. The ribbons came from everywhere and were made from everything, from the concrete buildings to the ground and the tarred streets. Everything around him seemed to be coming to life and snaking its way to bind him. "That's one of the hardest forms of magic one could master," Hypnos said in disbelief. Matter manipulation, but even the world turning against him, was not enough to overcome the rage of Hercules. He ripped the ribbons to shreds and freed his club. "I will not forgive anyone who dares call me that. Not even the gods," he shouted as he swung the lion tamer. But the club did not reach Madame. It was held back by the ribbons that had reformed to bind the champion just as quickly as he had torn them apart. But the force from the swing alone was enough to push back her hood and crack her mask. "Then it is my fortune that I am not something as puny as a god," the madam said as her broken mask fell to the floor. "I am a titan," she pronounced. At those words, the ground below Hercules turned liquid. The tarred road he stood on behaved like quicksand, and he began to sink into the black murk. No matter how many he destroyed, more ribbons appeared, pulling him deeper into ground until he could not be seen anymore. Madame Hex took a single step onto the liquid tar, and it turned solid again, not even leaving a trace of its metamorphosis. She walked directly over where Hercules had sunk, with her silky raven black hair falling across her shoulders and her beautiful oval face held high. She walked straight across the field with her deep purple eyes fixed on Maximus. Mia and Hedger had come out of hiding now and ran to Max's side, but Mia was not her usual self. She seemed shocked, afraid, and excited all at the same time. You're a," Mia said at a loss of words. "Hecate," Hypnos completed. "The Titan of witchcraft." Silence followed these words. A Titan. They were all supposed to be dead or locked up in Tartarus for eternity, and yet here one stood, And seeing the kind of power she possessed, one had to admit it was hard to picture how the Titans lost in the first place. "Yes," said Hecate, "but I am afraid we do not have time for long introductions. My spell will not hold Hercules for long." She then began to move towards the fallen Thanatos. In an instant, Hypnos had his sword at her neck as he said, "That's as close to my brother you need to get. We have a Titan back in Pluto, with the weight of the world on his back, and his body in chains. Don't make me add you to the collection." "I do not fret at such empty threats, young one," Hecate said. "I mean him no harm. If I wanted you dead, I would have let Hercules end you." Hypnos hesitated for a moment, and then removed his blade. Hecate bent over and put her hands on Thanatos. His bleeding stopped immediately, and with a wave of her hand, the homicide floated back to its master and latched itself on the death god's hand. "That is all I can do for now," Hecate said, rising. "But he is still far from healed. Forcibly removing a demonic weapon is not something most would even survive. He is strong, this one, but his soul is deeply scarred." "Why are you helping us?" Hypnos asked. He still had not sheathed insomnia. "Not without reason, young one. I require a service of you. Though I have heard all the unpleasant rumors about the underworld, I have always known Don Hades to be a man of his word. A trait I hope his capos follow," Hecate said. "And what will you have me do?" Hypnos asked. "Protect him," Hecate said, looking towards Maximus. "Him?" said Hedger in surprise. "Me?" said Max, just as shocked. "Hypnos, I will have your word that the boy and his friends will safely make it out of Minerva," declared the Titan. Hypnos did not know what was going on, but he did not like the thought of owing a Titan for his life. So the sleep god nodded in agreement. "As much as I appreciate all that you have done, why are you going to all this trouble for me?" Max asked. Sadness entered the Titan's eyes as she said, "I must do at least this much for Themis." There it was again, that name. Maximus thought Themis. "But who is that?" he asked. "A long time ago, I, along with Athena and a few others, were part of a group that wanted to save the world, the Sisterhood of Libra. Themis was our leader. She was a Titan like me, the Titan of divine justice. She was also a fierce warrior, a fair ruler, and a brilliant scientist," Hecate said with a sad smile. "But to you, Maximus, she was something much greater. She was a mother." Maximus felt as though his insides had turned to lead. He stared at the Titan, unable to process what she had just told. He had a mother. A million questions filled his head, but he couldn't find his voice. "I wish I could tell you more, but there is no time," Hecate said. "But I shall give you this, a parting gift." Hecate moved close to Maximus and touched his chest, right on his heart. He felt something ignite inside him. For a moment he felt himself awakened, as though something untamable arose inside him. Then just as quickly the feeling disappeared. "What was that?" Max asked. "All will be revealed when the time is right," Hecate said. But before she pulled away, she whispered something into Max's ear so only he could hear. "Trust the voice of the blade." Hecate stepped back and turned to all four of them. "You must escape the city in haste. There is nothing more for you here. Mia, you are a gifted witch. Do not let your talents go to waste." Mia blushed at these words and said, "Yes, madam." Hecate then turned to Hypnos. "You will make sure they leave the country safely." It was more of an order than a request, to which Hypnos nodded. "I must go now. I must try to save as many as I can, and you must leave as well. My spell already weakens and Hercules stirs towards freedom beneath us. Once he is released, there will be nothing more I can do." With that grim reminder and a shimmer in the air, Hecate disappeared. This has been a chapter from Book 2 of the new World Odyssey series, The Legions of Athena. Links to the books in the bio. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you in the next chapter.